Hi everyone, this is Priya Basil. Today I'm here with important keywords and points to remember when you're preparing for this exam and writing this exam and once you have your license. So let's go with before you write your exam. When you're walking into an examination room, the most important three keywords you have to remember is number one, time management. Always make sure that you have a proper time management. When you're doing a question, always you have to make sure that you're not exceeding more than 90 seconds on one question. If you're exceeding more than 90 seconds or 1.5 minutes, that means you're thinking too much and you're not analyzing well. So always make sure that you're not exceeding more than 90 seconds. If it's taking long, don't waste your time on that particular question. Analyze it and guess it and pick an answer, go for the next one. So time management is very important to pass the exam. So that's something you have to always remember. Number two, always think like a nurse, not like a student. So when you're writing a test, always make sure that you think like a nurse. If you're approaching a scenario, you have to think as a nurse what you're going to do it. You will not think like a student because as a student you cannot do a lot of things as in the scope of nursing practice. But when you're thinking as an RN, then of course you will be using your right approach to implement the interventions. So it's very important to remember that think like a nurse, not like a student when you're approaching a question when you're writing the test. Then the third one is always trust on your preparation. So when you're writing this exam, don't be nervous. Don't worry about like you're gonna fail this exam. That's a very negative thought process. Always you have to remember that you practice very well. You practice so many questionnaire and text type questionnaire. You might took some courses. You studied all the books, and then you just went for all the different resources to prepare yourself. So you did well on that, and you're gonna pass this exam. So always make sure that you trust yourself when you're writing this test. So the important keyword to be remembered when you're writing this exam, time management, think like a nurse, not like a student, and always trust in your preparation. Now you passed your exam and then you met all the requirement by your board and you have license now. So now the important thing you have to remember as a nurse when you're practicing, number one, accountability. As a nurse, you have to always make sure that you're accountable for your action. Anything you do, it matters. Anything when you're practicing and using your license, it matters. You're accountable for your knowledge. You're accountable for your practice. You should be practicing in your scope of nursing practice. So make sure that you're an accountable nurse when you're practicing. Number two, you have to remember is always you have to have a continuous education. So you cannot just think that I passed my exam, I got my license, so I'm done. I don't need to study further. You have to always update yourself. Sometimes you can go for upgrading by doing masters, or you're doing a bachelor's degree, or doing going for an MP program or doctorate in nursing practice. So you should be upgrading yourself. Sometimes the nurses doesn't want to go for further studies, but how they can upgrade in that scenario, always you can participate in QA, as the board is giving you the QA participation where you can go and participate. You can participate in services. You can read the nursing journals, participating in different sessions and certification. That's the way you can upgrade and you can do a professional growth. And that's very, very important. Now, the next one is when you're practicing as a nurse, always make sure that the conduct matters. So, professional conduct matters for every nurse. So, when you're practicing, once you have a license, you're accountable for your action. Even if you're on duty, even if you're on off duty, you have to make sure that you're using that license, you're taking that license forever with you. So anything you do, it matters. You're accountable for public, accountable for patients and the college. So you make sure that you're practicing in the boundaries of nurse-client relationship and you're practicing in the scope of nursing practice. So if you follow this thumb rules, which is the three important points to be remembered, number one, be accountable as a nurse. Number two, always make sure that professional conduct matters. And then, of course, always you have to make sure the continuous education is very important to be a best nurse in your practice. So, if you remember these points and if you remember these keywords, you can be the best nurse and you will not be in trouble anytime when you're practicing. So, that's all for today. And tomorrow I'm going to bring another topic. And if you are interested in any particular topic, always you can put on that comment and then I can prepare that for you, that can help you in your practice, that can help you to prepare for your exam too. So that's all for today.